unaliving of BLK women. Let's see if that works. Let's talk about the unaliving of BLK women and what BLK women can do about it. Because this particular story is so insane that I can't even fathom it. I can't fathom the terror that this woman felt having multiple protection orders out and nothing being done about this Negro. I can't imagine him terrorizing and abusing other women, which he's on record to have done, and those women also feeling powerless, like there's nothing that they can do about it. And, anytime I feel like BLK women try to talk about this particular topic, it's always a situation where people attempt to silence them and don't want them to talk about it. And I have no idea why you wouldn't want BWs to talk about a situation like this when it could affect your daughters, it could affect your mothers, it could affect your sisters, it could affect your aunts, it could affect a woman that you were cool with or that you liked. It's a big problem and nobody's talking about it. And I think that it's a very if you look at the lack of emotional regulation in the BLK community when it comes to the men, you will understand why these things are, so easy to happen. Because if there is a higher percentage of BMs unaliving each other at a higher rate than other people, or the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, BLK men are 21 times more likely to be unalived by pew-pew violence, pew-pew unalivings by each other, then that means that there is a different type of aggression in the BLK community that is manifesting itself through the men. And so if they handle each other with such a lack of care, then what do you think that they're going to do to the women in their community who they feel they are entitled to, or who they feel that they can do whatever to, especially with this whole red pill ideology and the fact that that's rooted in making them feel like women are less than anyway. Hey, how you doing, Coach T? Hey, how you doing, sis? I think that is like very important to talk about, honestly. And, the fact that this woman here in this, I don't know if you heard about this story right here of this. I don't know why I keep getting like restricted, you guys, but I'm just gonna keep going and hope that you guys could please share the live and more people could see the live. You know what I mean? But because for some reason I keep getting reported. I'm gonna look and see anybody new that I see on here. If I see anybody new, I'm gonna have to block you, unfortunately, because like what's going on? Like, what about me talking about BLK women losing their lives would make you want to report it? And that's what I mean. Like when BWs talk about the fact that no one cares about the life of BLK women, and that there's an extreme amount of disrespect and degradation in the community, then everybody says that, oh, y'all tripping, oh, y'all bugging. Nobody does that to y'all, etc., 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 when that's not the truth. It's just disgusting to me, like, honestly. So if you guys can do your best to share the live with as many people as you can, so maybe we could get at least 50 people in here, that would be great. But I just honestly, it's like I really want to restart it again and see the people that I see in here. Because if I see anybody in here that was in the last couple times that I don't know, I'm just gonna block you. And that way I can go ahead and avoid this particular thing happening again. But yeah, I really think that how many more women do we have to see? How many more women do we have to see lose their lives by a unhinged, emotionally unregulated, highly emotional man? you know? And it's like these things happen over and over and over and over again in the worst way. And everybody just make an excuse for it and say, oh, it's not all of us. Or, oh, when will we ever acknowledge that there's a problem? Because how many stories do you hear about BLK women? Not saying that there aren't before anybody comes in and say, oh no, I know one story of a BLK woman that did this. I'm talking about collectively. How many stories do you hear of BWs going and stalking a man and abusing a man for years? He's getting protective orders. He can't escape from her. She's making him terrified. She ends up stalking him down and then ends up poking him in his brains, in his spleen, in his lungs, and completely eviscerates him, and then goes to another man's house that she's also been abusing and terrorizing and frightening, and he's scared, and then she's going to another man and staying with him, and that man is terrified. Like, how many stories do you hear about BLK women doing things like that? Think about it. Exactly. And that really honestly is problematic. And it's problematic that even though women are losing their lives, you still don't want to talk about it. You still don't want to hear it. That's crazy. That's crazy that you still don't want to hear about it. It's like I can't even stand it. Like, it's so disgusting. It's so sad to me that I can't even stand it. And then there will be people that will tell you, "Oh no, these are isolated incidents." One of my closest friends was unalived by her husband. I really wish that y'all would stop acting like these are, isolated incidents. Let's see. Miss Ross says, my sis almost lost her life 3 days ago. I hope her BD goes to prison. I'm so sick of this. You see what I'm saying? I'm sorry to hear that, Miss Ross. But it's sad to say, I'm not surprised. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. But for some reason, all these black women have all of these experiences. They know all of these people, but for some reason, it's not happening a lot. For some reason, talking about this triggers BLK men so much that they want to report my live for fake engagement. Because that right now is what my live is restricted and blocked for. Fake engagement. I only got 9 people up in here. So where would the fake engagement come from? The last restriction was for harassment and bullying. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what? Go ahead, sis. Go ahead, Special K.
It's so crazy that this situation happened because I was just talking to, I work in a barbershop. And so I get a lot of firsthand information, about like how men, how they feel about women and, their experiences and things like that. And so um in a discussion, we were talking about uh whether women were more aggressive towards men or men were more aggressive towards women, right? And these men, like a echo, they said that women are more aggressive towards men than they are to women. And I found that to be so crazy. I said with the rate of, women being DV victims, how can you say that women are more aggressive? And like, am I tripping? Like, am I from a different world? Because I've never seen women attacking men, like in a store, when a man is sitting in his car, and he's just minding his business. I've never seen a woman attack a man, but I have seen it where, men are attacking women. They're telling women, don't sit in your cars, don't do this, don't do that. Watch the men that you're around. They're not well. But I'm seeing they feel like women are more aggressive than them. And I just, in my mind, I just don't understand. I just don't understand the psyche of it all. It's like, where you getting this from that women are more aggressive towards men than men are aggressive towards women? And all I keep hearing them say is that, like, if a woman is in a store, she gonna snap on a man, and she'll get in a man's face, and she'll do this. And I'm just like, what are y'all talking about? I just don't see this. Am I alone? Like, but in their minds, they really feel like they're the victims.
Yeah, it's really I really a lot with women, a lot of the, or not deflection, I'm sorry, that was the wrong word, projection. I think a lot of the things that men say about women are actually things that they are actively doing, and they put it on women instead. It's the same way how black men will say, oh, black women, y'all are aggressive, y'all this, that, and the third, when it's already on record statistically that black men are way more aggressive. When they talk about like black women are masculine, when black men are out here wanting to be treated like women, it's on the opposite side. Or when they say that women are more emotional, however, wars, people have been unalived all because of a man got his feelings hurt. I think all of the things that they say is basically projection onto women, onto to black women, about what they're doing. Is just like the throw off, because it's just like there's no way you can tell me that you feel like, you know, BWs are more aggressive or anything of that nature, when you constantly see all of these horrific stories of men not only beating the brakes off women, terrifying them, the women try to get away, the women get protective orders, and they just run down on them and put them in the dirt. I can't even tell you how many I saw. I can think of so many because I keep up with it. I remember it was a story of a woman that was desperately trying to get away from her husband. He had been abusing her for years. She couldn't take it anymore. She told the police. She ended up getting a protective order. He ended up getting locked up. They let this man out. She was unaware that he got out. This man got a car from his mom, stalked her, waited till she was dropping off the kids to school, cut off the car and right in front of the school, and violent, uncontrolled, animalistic, like an animal. No sense of decency or nothing. It's so many, like the my friend that was unalived by her husband. She left him. He went to the daycare center when she was getting out of the car to pick up their children, and had a whole bunch of different pew pews and pew pewed her right out there. She managed to survive, but she ended up unaliving later on by her injuries. Like I end up, those two situations really aren't even the worst. There was another one where a BOK man got mad at his mother and got mad at his sister. He went to the house where his mother and sister was. They were both adults, and his niece that was 9 years old, and unalived all of them, and put their bodies in a car and set the car on fire. Like, at what time are we going to act like these things are unrelated? Do you know that a pregnant black woman is 11 times more likely to be unalived by other races of women than other races of women? And we already know who's doing the unaliving. There was a story, it was like, I think it was like last year, another black man stalking a woman that didn't want to be with him anymore because she was tired of getting beat. He unalived her and left her in an abandoned ambulance with a poking object lodged in her head. That's exactly the type of things that I'm talking about. How many stories do BLK men have of that? That hasn't happened at their own hands, because they have the highest rates of raping each other. A lot of times it's in a prison setting, the highest rates of unaliving each other. So it's like, you can't put that on black women. And it's just, I don't know. It's just, I'm tired of it.
Yeah,
I
you know
can't take
what?
it.
It's so crazy. I live in Indiana, and we had a councilwoman who was unalived by a man that she had been dating for like 3 months. And she, they were just going out on dates, and then finally she said, yes to, being his girlfriend. And She had to be about in her 60s, I believe, or 70s. She was either 60s or 70s. Well, anyways, she ended up like noticing some things about him. And so she almost immediately broke up with him, right? So he got mad about it, and uh and she decided, and he started stalking her. She decided to go get a restraining order from him. And do you know this man went and got a restraining order on her saying that she was, stalking him. And so the judge told them both, if I see either, he took his side and believed him. He said if I see either one of y'all in my court anymore, he said that he's gonna arrest them both. Now, mind you, she's really being stalked by this man, but she's being punished, for standing up for herself, and somehow he's allowed to be a victim as well. So then the man comes into her home one day, and he grapes her, right? He grapes her, and then after he grapes her, he tells her, "If you tell anybody that I did it, I'm gonna." He said he was gonna unalive her. So she went to the police station. She was just like, I just can't take it no more. She just went to the police station to try to, let them know that what he had done to her. And so she filed another restraining order, or however that went. When she got back to her car, this man was hiding in her back seat, and he unalived her like a block away from the police station. And I thought that to be crazy. But somebody's asking, it was in Gary, Indiana. I live in another area in Indiana, but it was in Gary, Indiana. The whole story was crazy. And I just couldn't believe she's a councilwoman, like a very important person. And she wasn't even immune from being, in this type of situation. It's like it doesn't matter what level of life that you're in, you can face this situation. And they said, they were saying he was like pretending to be this great man.
Hey, Special K.
Come to find out.
Special K.
Yes.
Your bestie said in the comments, was she a BLK woman?
Yes, she was a black woman. Yeah, I don't really know people outside of that. But yeah, she was a black woman. And here's the crazy thing. This man had just been released. I don't know if it was 1 year or 2 years. I wish I can remember his name. This man was just released from, I don't know, maybe a 30 or 40-year prison sentence, because he was in his 60s. And he had just been released, but nobody knew that he had a record, because his record was in Alabama, I think. And then it traveled to Chicago. He traveled to Chicago. He had a record in Chicago. So he had enough time, I guess, to hide his record, because she only was with him for 3 months. So she thought he was going to work. He was doing good. She does not know. And it's so crazy how you think that you vetted this person so well, and they can still have a sentence. So he was actually in jail for another unaliving. So somehow he got out of jail. I'm like, that's when I heard that story, I was like, this is so crazy. Like, we ladies, we got to be careful. My daughter is coming home from college, and I'm not the one picking her up, and her cousin is picking her up. What I told my daughter was, I need his because he's bringing his roommate, and I said, I need his roommate's information. I need to see his face. I need to know his name. I need to know a whole lot, because that, even though that's her male cousin and we can trust him, at the end of the day, you can't trust nobody these days, especially a black man. And I'll just keep it there.
Yeah, I mean, what you just said, the story is so sad, and it just like you said, it just lets you know that regardless of what status you receive or you attain the high success levels as a black woman, you're still never going to be respected, and nobody's going to care about what happens to you. And that's the reason why I really wanted to talk about it today, because I'm tired. Like, I'm legitimately, every day is something more heinous than the next day that a black man has done to some black women or his ex-girlfriend or even the kids, because they don't spare the kids neither. The kids get unalived as well. I read about two stories was within this year of BLK men that were used for hits on people and ended up unaliving the whole family, the man, the woman, the children. One, it was a man, a woman, and the child was like 2 or 3, and he got paid $500. And it's like you see these men walking around and they look like humans, but they're not humans. They're actually monsters in human form. You know what I mean? And it's terrifying to me. And the fact that all of these men talk about, oh, the black community and red pill this and red pill that, but never talk about things that are actually harming and causing a fracture in the relations between black men and black women. Because I really think that moving forward, like a nationwide, background check should be required on a man before you even attempt to talk to him, if you're gonna do it. But if I was honest, like if I was like, let's just say I was single in this day and age, I wouldn't even take the chance. I wouldn't even take the chance to date anybody. That's how scary to me I perceive it to be. And my daughter, who is my oldest daughter, she's always researching and doing stuff. And she tells me, like, hey, mom, like, when I get to be, an adult, I'm not quite for sure if I'm ever going to be in a relationship with anybody because men scare me. Do you know all of these things that happen? And I'm just like, girl, you looking up too much stuff. But, that's just what she likes to do. And I can't lie to her and tell her, oh, no, sis, you're going to find the king of your dreams. And he's not, because it's too many men out here going crazy. And the all of the programming that we have right now, to where you got all of these men talking about, you're beneath me. As a woman, I built this world that you live in. I gave you your rights, and all of this insane like type of rhetoric that just encourages more men to feel like this. Like, if a woman don't want to be with you no more, that you have a right to put her in the dirt. Because I don't understand how you can, as a man, unalive a woman because you say that she's entertaining other men while you are entertaining other women. Why, it's the girl that he was talking to off of a social media dating app said that a month ago, he's been with her since a month previously, messing with him. So it's like, why in the world are you so mad at this woman when you got all of these women you messing with that you would actually be that enraged? But like I said, in this particular story, his other baby mama that he went over there said that she was terrified that he was going to unalive her or unalive somebody else. He was that violent, that unhinged, that crazy. And as much as, we would like to act like these are isolated incidents, they are not. They are not. It's happening all the time. And just like every time when something happens to black women, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody talks about it. Nobody addresses it. And that's exactly the reason why I get so mad at black women that want to fight for everybody's rights. Y'all want to talk about free these people, free those people. Let's talk about this. Let's black women defend and protect these. All when we need help, we need support, when we need protection, nobody's there. Nobody's there at all. Nobody says anything. Nobody brings it up. I would venture to say, for any black woman that is really into, like I would say, more leaning on the very, very liberal black woman side, where you think everybody can be a woman and you include everybody in everything. How many of those people do you see do lives constantly and consistently, or even at all, about black femicide? Huh? How many times when something horrific happens to a black woman do you see them on a live panel sharing it and discussing it and are really in their feelings about it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I know.
It's just you.
It's crazy, I just, it really hurts me to see this type of thing because I also, with my first husband, was in a domestic violence situation with him a lot. My first husband, they say that if a man strangles you, like you're like, I forgot how much it is, but it's like really high. I can't remember if it was like 20 times or 40 times more likely. I have to look it up, y'all. But it might even be more than that. But if a man strangles you, you're like extremely is way more of a chance that he'll unalive you, because when a man strangles you, it's like a complete lack of control, like they completely lost it. And so when a man loses it to that degree, he's more likely to unalive you. And I'm thinking back to this time where my first husband, I was tired of him. Like he really was driving me crazy because he was so abusive. He was doing so much. And I remember one time, like I was at his sister's house, and like he has nothing but females in his family because his father passed. So he got all sisters. His sisters had all girl children. So it's like it's nothing but women. And so anyway, I was over there and it was all of them over there. And so it was nothing but women there, but him. He's the only man there. And he was just freaking out and cussing me out in front of them. And of course, they was taking silence. They normally did. And I told him, I said, hey, look, I'm just about to go. I just can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I'm about to go. So he had like snatched my purse or whatever in an attempt to stop me from going, because at this point he had got my car like towed away because he was driving it, and I didn't, he kept me so broke and stuff. I wasn't able to get any type of money to get it out. So I had like a bus pass in my pocket. This was a long time ago. And so I told him I was about to go. And so he was like, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. So I had ran out of their house or whatever, and was on the bus stop waiting and for the bus to come. And when he came out there and sat on the bus stop and was yelling at me, telling me that I should get back in the house. And I told him no, I wasn't going. And very rarely did I tell him no or say like I wasn't going to do something. So, that was already amping him up and making him mad. So this dude walked past, right? It was another black man. He walked past us while we were waiting on the bus stop. And he told me, my ex-husband, my first husband told me, he was like, why was you looking at that man? Why was you looking at that man? And I was like, I wasn't. Do you know, I don't know if I told this story before, but this man, he sat there and said, I'm talking about he hawked up the biggest, juiciest loogie of spit of all time and spit it in my face. And was like, don't look at nobody. And I'm telling you, the black man that was walking past, he saw it all. He ain't step in, he ain't do nothing. So this whole thing about black men being protectors and all of this other bullshit, and they just now stopping, that was like almost 20 years ago. I think it was 20 years ago or something like that.
I'm so
years.
sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm so sorry.
That was so long ago. Yeah. But I'm telling you, that man, he looked down. He looked down and just kept going. And so at that point, I'm sitting there wiping the spit from my face and everything like that. And I'm feeling humiliated. And then I'm feeling embarrassed because somebody else seen it. So I start walking down the street because I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and keep walking, because I'm like, I'm not even about to sit here. You know what I'm saying? And wait, I'll just catch the bus as it keeps coming down. So he like, no, you're not going to go nowhere. He was like, you know what? I'll unalive you first. So he goes into his sister's house, unbeknownst to me, and gets a butcher, a butcher poker, because I guess that's what I can say, a butcher poker. And so I'm running.
Chopper.
Yes, a butcher chopper. And I end up getting on the bus. Now, but sometimes when it was like during certain times of the day, back in the state that I lived in back then, more than one bus would be coming down the street and they would take you to the train station, the rapid station or whatever. So I'm on there, I get off the bus, I'm sitting there at the rapid station, the train station, and I'm like, phew, you know what I'm saying? Thank goodness. Hopefully, he ain't come. I look up, this man got on another bus and is right there with the butcher chopper, waving it at me, telling me that he should he should poke the F out of me right now. He should unalive me right here and in front of all these MFing people. He should unalive me and put me in the dirt because I ain't nothing but a dirty that don't listen to nothing that he got to say. He should unalive me. He was like, yeah, I should. He's flinching at me. He doing all this stuff. I'm looking at all these people and I'm just thinking, first of all, I was thinking, nobody was going to step in, but nobody did, of course. And then I started to feel like, powerless. Like, wow, like this man literally could unalive me right now and nobody could do nothing and nobody would do nothing about it. And, I prayed to God a lot back then. And I just know that God protected me in that situation and so many other situations that I was in with him. And so he just ended up getting so mad that he ended up getting on the rapid and left. He left me right there. And I just waited until, that rapid was gone to get on another one. But he took me through it so bad, so much abuse. And so when I hear these stories, like I feel like I'm about to get emotional, but I'm gonna try not to. But that's the reason why when I hear these stories about other women that have not been so fortunate, that have been unalived, it really hurts me. It really hurts me because I know that could have been me. It could have been me. I could have been like that. And I feel like if I had been with him in this day and age, it would have been me. I wouldn't have made it through because I feel like every decade, Black men get more and more and more and more unhinged and emotionally, unregulated. Every decade, it's like they get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's just like we hear these stories about these women, we say, oh, that's sad, that's sad. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's no problem, ladies. I appreciate y'all in the chat telling me y'all sorry. I really do appreciate it. But it's just like when we hear these stories about these Black women losing their lives, right? We say, oh, that's sad. I feel so sorry for that sister. But we just keep moving on. You know what I'm saying? We just keep going forward. But all of these women had hopes and dreams and goals, just like I did. And if he had unalived me in that rapid station that day, y'all would never know me. Y'all would have never, known that I was funny and I like to do videos or whatever. I just wouldn't be here no more. So it's like how many women have had their existences ended like that because of a selfish, disgusting, abusive Black man that feels like because he has a penis, it's his right to oppress women and tell Black women what to do. And if she's not doing exactly what he wants, and even if she is doing exactly what he wants, he's still gonna put his hands on her. And it's crazy to me is that you have so many of these violent Black men out here willing to beat the brakes off of Black women, willing to unalive a Black woman, willing to unalive a Black man that looks like them, but they never have no smoke for none of these white men that are called him the N-word with the hard R on it. They have they silent when it comes to massa, but then they want to get real buck and real crazy when it comes to Black women. It's really ridiculous. I cannot take it. And I'm tired of people acting like it's not that big a deal because it is that big a deal. It is. It's a huge deal. It's a huge thing that's going on. Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you so much. I don't, girl, PG 1908. I'm not even really for sure why I shared that story today. Like, I don't know. But it's just because like I said, I'm a really empathetic person when it comes to Black women. And well, really in general, to be honest, sometimes I feel like I have empathy for people that don't deserve it. But I'm definitely really empathetic as well when it comes to Black women. And when I hear these stories, like it really, 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 really bothers me. It really, 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 really hurts my soul. It hurts me so bad that sometimes my husband will be like, "What's wrong? What's wrong? Hey, are you okay? What happened? What can I do?" I'll be like, "Oh, y'all read this story about this lady that was unalived." Because it bothers my soul that much. Let me see here. China. You said last man that threatened me, super triggered me. I went off so bad. I went through a similar situation in my 20s, and cops don't help. Absolutely, they don't. They don't. They don't. And when they give the men, because I had a protective order against my ex-husband, my first husband, he used to violate that thing all the time. He'd be like, "I don't care. I don't care," because by the time they get here, you already gonna be gone. So, yeah, I don't, I mean, I understand that people get protective orders because they feel like it does something. But if a man is crazy enough, that it ain't even gonna matter. He's still gonna come. He's still gonna do it. They said that the lady that was unalived by this man here in this picture, she had three of them. She had three of them. He had a domestic violence case and was locked up. I think it was like real recent. So it's like that, none of that stuff even matters. And that's why it's so important for, more BLK women to get armed, to arm themselves and to go to a class. If you don't know anything about pew pews, then you need to have somebody teach you. And you can go to a pew pew class on Groupon. You can literally get a Groupon for $40. And they will tell you how to load it, how to unload it, the proper ways to carry it, the proper ways to, make sure that you don't accidentally, you know what I'm saying, like pew pew yourself in the foot or something like that. They'll tell you it all. They'll take you to the range, let you pew pew the targets, teach you how to aim, all of these things. That and it'll only be like $40. And then you'll know. And then there are a lot of sites like pewpews.com, guns.com. I'll just say that will, they have good prices, a whole bunch of different ones that will be discreet, that you can definitely carry in your purse. And if you're not a purse girl, or if you carry like a crossbody or something like that, or like them like fanny pack type things, they have small ones that you can have as well for that. And you can get it. And what you can do is you pay for it online, put in your information, and they will send it to a pew pew shop in your area, and then you can pick it up from there. That way they know, they verify your identity and all of that. I bought some from a pew pew show, like a pew pew show. I don't know if where y'all at, they have those where the dudes come through and they have it in this big old arena, and then they got all these different pew pews to choose from. I've gotten pew pews from there. I've gotten pew pews online, all legal, and I've done all of these things. And I just implore you, if you're a black woman and you have the ability and the resources to get you one, it is an absolute necessity. I don't even feel like at this point it's an option. Like, how some women will say like, hey, I'm too afraid. I don't really like pew pews. I don't feel comfortable with them. Well, you need to get comfortable, sis, because there's a target on your back, period. And, nobody may handle you with care or grace. No, there's no guarantee that if you see a man and something's happening to you, that somebody's going to stop it. Somebody may see it and not do nothing about it. I remember another story of this African woman, but she was here in the United States. She was living, and her husband was a pastor. And apparently her husband, they were both African, you know what I'm saying? Her husband had been abusing her for a long time, and she didn't want to be with him anymore. So she had moved somewhere else. She was pretty much hiding out, but she had the same job. She was like a banker, like one of the banker people that sit on the desk areas. And so she was coming to work and she was unlocking the door, and this man popped up and poked her right there outside the door at the bank. When other people came to come for the work in the day, they found her out there poked up. And he was on the cameras doing it. So it's like, it's very, 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 very important, in my opinion, to have a pew pew. But go ahead, sis.
And for him to even be caught on camera, like he just didn't even care. Like they look at us so much as a possession. A lot of them, they don't even care about the consequences, about being locked up for the rest of their life. None of that stuff. And I find it crazy or insane that you think that a woman is your possession. I don't understand. Like, well, in my opinion, I belong to God. But at the end of the day, like, I belong to my parents. That's first and I don't belong to them in the way of possession. So I don't understand how, like, if a man does not want to be with me, I don't want to be with him. If a man does not choose me, I'm not choosing him. That's just how it goes. But I don't understand what goes on in their minds to where they feel like, this has to be the outcome, and why they feel like they can't just leave and go find somebody else. Like, that should be the goal, is to go find somebody better than, if especially if you're dealing with somebody that you feel like, is not going to make you happy, or it does not want to be with you. I just don't understand, why a woman can't just get up and just go. I know that there are women who do this, but not in the way that men do it, not in the way that black men do it. I have never heard a story of a woman, like, in any neighborhood I've lived in any situation. I've never heard it, but I have only been hearing it, like, even in the newspapers, that black men are doing this to black women. And for anybody to say, well, it's a 50-50 thing, like, to me, that sounds crazy. Like, what world are you living in that you feel like it's 50-50, that women are just as violent towards their men? I literally was talking about this situation, well, not this exact situation, but a situation so similar. I think I was watching um what is the Handmaid's Tale? That's what I was watching, and I was just, just talking about, what's going on in the series or whatever. But I had a young lady in my chair. I think she's about 24 or whatever the case may be, and she said, well, she's always on the male side of things, because I don't know if it's because she's Israelite or what it is, but she was just like saying, well, some of the numbers are a little bit skewed because men don't report the violence that they face all the time. And I'm like, like, what? Even if they're not reporting it, we are not seeing these things happen in public often enough for anybody to even say, hey, this is what women do too. Like, you don't really see it. And it's not because men are not reporting it. It's just because women are not that aggressive. Now, have I ever seen a woman, like, in a man's face? But half the time, when you see a woman in a man's face, it is because he cheated or he did something, he insulted her or whatever the case may be. It's always reactionary. It's never actually a woman just being blatantly violent towards a man. And so when she said that, I was like, I was like, them not reporting it is because they don't have proof. It's because they don't experience it enough. And most of the time it's because they started it. They have done something first. And so they can't report it. But hey, maybe that's just in my anecdotal experience. I don't know. But in my opinion, that's why they don't report it. It ain't because they're embarrassed to tell their story or whatever the case may be. Because when they get up on here on TikTok, they most definitely will try to, like, say it's 50-50. They want to use that as an example of, well, women do it too, to try to discredit what you're saying. So, like, I don't hear it that often. And like you said before, like, you don't see any lives about the unaliving of black women. You don't even see any lives. Mainly, you're the only person I see where men or women are talking good about black women. You don't see that often. So I just, like, for me, I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't know. It's mind boggling. And the abuse that, because I have witnessed this firsthand. I got my windows open where I live at, but I've witnessed abuse right next door to me with a man who, when you say hi to him, he's so polite and so nice. He just seems like this great guy, and he has such a good look. He's good looking, fine, all of this stuff. But he puts his hands on two women that he's dealing with. And he makes one woman, he makes her go and buy his kids and his baby mama breakfast or whatever, food. And then he'll have the baby mama up in the house just chilling. And this woman, the side chick, knows about the girlfriend or baby mama. The baby mama knows about the side chick. It's like they working hand in hand together. And he talks so disrespectful. My son literally watched him knock one of these girls down to their knees. And it's just crazy. And like, this woman is like, I've literally seen him, throwing rocks at her car, almost hitting my car, almost hitting other people's cars. Like, I do not see women doing this. I don't see them. I've heard of women busting men's cars, but again, not because the woman didn't get her way. It was because he cheated on her. So a woman done busted the man's car. But this man is doing it out of power and control. And he's doing it because he's not getting his way. And these women are coddling him by constantly being in his corner and constantly dealing with this man. Like, this woman literally broke free of this man. She is now back again. And I think he's using those kids as a way, because the kids live with him. They don't live with her. And she came back. She had a new car, everything. Now the car making noise because he been driving it. I seen him. He done went on a vacation and left her here with the kids in her car. It's just crazy. The things that I see these men do, I don't understand. And I don't fault those women because I don't know their story and what they've gone through and why, they're subject to this type of situation. I have not experienced it myself, but I always tell a man, maybe that may be crazy. I tell a man, don't never think you finna put your hands on me. You better watch. If you gonna do that, you better unalive me, because that's the only way you getting out of here alive. I do. I tell men that. Like, some men I don't have to say that to, but I sometimes have to, have to give that little warning. Like, I'm not the one. I'm not the one, the two, or the three. Like, I fight boys. I will fight you too. That's how I used to say it when I was younger, So now I don't have to say it too much, because I still don't, I don't know. I think I just be sensing something about that person, and I'm able to get myself away from them. But don't get me wrong, I have been threatened. And I tell them all the time, you better not go to sleep, and you better sleep with one eye open, so. But yeah, I mean, I hate that women have to deal with this type of situation. And, like, we just got to stick together, and we got to, we can't keep letting this happen. So if that means that we're not going to be in relationships with them, and we're just going to go out and get our degrees, get better jobs, whatever the case may be, focus on our kids, focus on, if you have kids, and focus on your friendships with other women, focus on your parents, whatever you got to do to stay focused. I have a 23-year-old, and, she wants to be married. She wants to be in a relationship. And I tell her, not at the expense of your life. I said, I've been talking to women online. If that man give you the first red flag, this one male stood her up and talking about he fell asleep. And I said, well, that sounds like a lie. I said, when he woke up, why he didn't call you? And so he did it again. And I'm like, he's testing your boundaries. He wants to break your boundaries. He wants to test his limits with you, so that so that you'll be more susceptible to him abusing you. That's what he wants, whether it's physical or not. He's testing his boundaries. And I tell her all the time, I know you in college, Don't be that desperate to where you need to go and hang out and do some things. You know, I understand that you bored, you ain't got nothing better to do, but I tell her all the time, girl, you're doing this. It's a sacrifice. You're in school. Focus on school. Don't focus on a boy getting into a relationship. Don't focus on that right now. You know, and I know a lot of men get mad because we say those things, but I tell her, focus on school. She wants to be a veterinarian. I'm like, don't let nobody take those accomplishments away from you by you choosing to be with a man who's going to abuse you or who's going to hurt you or who's going to stifle your success. Don't do that. I tell her that all the time. And so she still made her own choices. So she chose to go out, and I know she probably gonna be mad. I'll be telling my story, but at the end of the day, she ended up choosing to go out with this man, and I was mad. I was like, "Why you go out with him? I told you to be careful." He still ends up disappointing her. She came back safely, but he still ended up disappointing her. And she was like, "Ma, you right." You know, because at the end of the day, he already had showed you who he was. So you going out with him was you making that choice to deal with that man. You know, and who knows what type of safety, you know, if you were in an unsafe situation. And I don't want her dating online, you know, those things like that, because that's a lot of times where a lot of women find themselves in those situations. They end up dating these men online and they can't vet them correctly, you know, and it's just sad. It's just so sad. The whole relationship, all of that, it's just sad, you know, at the
Yeah.
end of the day. So I'll land there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you, and I'm just glad that your daughter, at least at the end of it, like she still, understood that what you were saying was right. Excuse me. So maybe in the future, she'll just listen to you, off top, because I always say that like men will tell you one thing but show you another, and you can only believe the actions of a man, not the words that he say out of his mouth, because men will say anything, and if he didn't feel, you know, like he was gonna call her, it was because there was a lack of him valuing her. And so for that, he should have been dismissed, immediately. But at least your daughter recognized it, sooner rather than later, and I just think that the more we can make, black women and black girls really understand that a lot of these men are trying to play games and see, how much they can get away with, that most of the time their intentions are not genuine. It's not to get to know you. It's not to be your friend. It's not to be your protector or your provider or whatever. None of that. It's to use you in some way, shape, form, or fashion that they've decided to use you in. And whether it's your body, whether it's your intelligence, whether it's, financially, whatever, that's what a lot of it's motivated and rooted in. And the world, I don't know how many more times we can see black women disrespected and nobody speak up about it before we realize that the way black women are viewed and treated is a direct contributing factor to why so many people can easily unalive us and treat us less than human. Because you're hearing this story, right, that we were just talking about this man that poked this lady up in a million different places: her head, her diaphragm, her lung, her spleen, her colon. This man poked up everything inside of this lady. There still would be more outrage if this black man had been on video stomping on a dog, if this black man had been on a video yelling at and berating a dog, or kicking a dog in the head, or doing something like that. Way more people would be outraged about that. Way more. They'd be like, "Oh my gosh, this man deserves to get the electric chair. This man deserves to get the lethal injection. I can't believe he would treat that dog like that." That would be news everywhere if he had poked up a dog like this. But because it's a black woman, it's not that big a deal. It's easy to wash away. I see it every day. You know what I'm saying? How people give, so much more credence to other, like, animals and other people than they ever do for black women that go through so much. It's even the same thing when it comes to police brutality. That's really, to be honest with y'all, that's really when I realized I guess I was living in like this pro-black, delusion. But I think when the blinders started to, or whatever it's called, like, what is it? They say the wool could fall off of your eyes or something like that. I think when I really started to see the community for what it really was when, I don't know if y'all remember Corn Gaines, the young black woman that was unalived by the police, and the way difference in treatment that she received from the black community as opposed to these nignogs that be out here doing illegal stuff and they get pew-pewed. When I saw so many black men say that, she on Facebook say like, oh, she got what she deserved, or oh, that's her fault, even though her little son had got pew-pew too. I remember everybody making it like it was not no big deal. And that's when I really realized, like, wow, like there's really a double standard. Like, y'all really don't care about black women being harmed. You don't. But if a black man is harmed by the police or something happens to him, then the world got to stop. Now everybody got, sorry, I got a phone call. Now everybody got to talk about why the black man is so harmed and so hurt and all of this other BS. And it's the same with black femicide, which is why they want to report my live. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to talk about it because they want to hide behind this thing that they're victims. They're not doing anything, even though all the statistics show that they are doing plenty. And that's the reason why I really feel like black women should never, I say black women should not share in the sins of black men anymore. Because I know when I used to talk to white people about the state of the black community, when I used to argue and go back and forth with them and try to make points to them, I mean, I don't do that no more. I don't talk to them at all. I don't talk to non-black people about no type of issues. And sometimes if it is if we're talking about black American issues, I won't even talk to black people across the diaspora about it. It's not that I have any issues with them. I love all black women, but I just still won't talk about it. But
Understand, they don't understand our plight. That's why.
exactly.
So talking to them is like, it's literally like talking to a YT person. It really
Mhm.
is.
Yep. That's exactly why I don't be talking to him. Cause it's like, you're not gonna stress me out and make me mad because I'm sitting here trying to get you to see my humanity or get you to see the humanity of me or the humanity of my people. Like, I'm not gonna do it. Girl, yeah, PG 1908. Yeah, they was mad about me dropping that cause she looked like more she just wasn't a black American. I don't know what else to say, and she looked to be not an Afro Latina either. So it was just like, I'm not about to talk to you, ma'am. You're not, and we're not going to
Yeah,
use the one drop rule to get you to come in here and talk about black women's business. You're not going to do it.
yeah,
Um,
because when you asked her if she was black, when you asked her if she was black, she couldn't even respond and say that she was black. It was like,
yeah,
what? You can't. You don't know whether you black or not.
because she knew she wasn't, and she didn't want to lie, bro. And it's just like, why, you as a non-black woman, do you want to talk to black women about black women stuff? Like, that is weird. That is weird. And I was just thinking about this yesterday when I ended the live. It's like if I see a panel, right, and they're talking about, like, it's nothing but African women from Kenya, right? So it's a whole bunch of Kenyan women talking about their men, talking about, or the men in their community, because I don't like to say their men, but talking about the men in their community, and talking about Kenyan issues. And I go up there as a black American woman and start saying, hey, yeah, let me talk about Kenyans. Let me talk about Kenyans and talk about, like, y'all be like, excuse me, like, you don't know nothing about Kenya. Wasn't raised in Kenya. I wasn't born in Kenya. I don't know nothing about the complexities of being a Kenyan woman. So why would I do that? That would be weird.
Exactly. We don't even face the same things that they face.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
don't get me wrong, the women, in Africa are oppressed, of course, but at the end of the day, like, they still, at the end of the day, they're still more male centered we than we ever will be at the end of the day, because they don't mind. I guess they don't mind, but some of them are speaking out, but I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
I can't, I can't.
Yeah, I've seen some African women now speak out about Not liking the way they're treated in like the misogynistic ways back there. Now I have talked to some that's come on my live that have totally, fallen head first into like the whole pick me thing and whatever. I think it's kind of like a split or whatever. I've talked about I've talked to both different sides of that. But yeah, I was just saying, yeah, I just don't talk. I don't talk to nobody that don't understand what's going on anymore. And I really feel like nobody wants to understand either.
I wanted to say though, I went to her page and she did look phenotypically like a black person, but going down her timeline, I was like, she came up here because wasn't it Level Up that was up there?
Yeah.
It was Level Up. Yeah, she came. She was a pick me. She was a pick me. She came up there. All of her stuff was all of their, all of those men in that manosphere group. All of her posts were of those men. And I was like,
Ugh.
that's kind of strange. Yeah, I found it to be strange. So like once you had, well, before you had dropped her and I was listening to her voice, I went to go, before you had even recognized it or that you had addressed it, put it like that, before you had addressed it, I went and I looked at her page and I saw that. I'm like, oh, I see what this is. She came up to defend Level Up, but she was trying to come in manipulative and pretend like she was like really on our side. But when it came down to it, she was about to flip the script because she definitely was a pick me for sure, for sure. Just even having the videos, the videos, like it wasn't her face, it was the videos of them. Most of the time, we will, if it's a woman addressing that type of situation, they're going to have their own face there, or not their own face, but something there so that you won't think that they're a part of the red pill community. So, but nah, she was definitely a pick me. It was about to go down for sure.
I really don't. I don't know why women be trying to try me like that and be thinking that they gonna come up there and be on some pick me stuff, and I'm just gonna really let it fly and let it go. Like I'm never gonna let it go. I really guess I need to be more open and vocal with the fact that pick me's it's a safe space for black women, but not a safe space for pick me's. Like y'all pick me's are not welcome in my space. Like I guess we can have a debate occasionally, but the times that I've tried to have discussions with pick me's, they be real rude, real mean, real nasty, real ignorant to me. But then they can encounter a black man that didn't say everything under the sun, and they be so nice to them. It's a big old kiki. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just can't respect women that will be super mean to me, but super nice to dudes that have talked about their whole existence on this app all the time. Like I just can't. I just can't do it. Uh PG 1908 was talking about how Level Up is a major red pillar. I knew he was by just his voice and the way he was talking, even though he was trying to cap like he wasn't. But I feel like a lot of times they try to cap like that so that they can get a chance to speak before they get dropped. But then they always end up getting dropped anyway because they can never stay on topic or not attack the women, either me or the other women in the live box, or even the women in the chat down below. Cause it was like he was asking PG 908, is she in public housing and all of these other stupid things. And then he asked me, am I think he asked me if I had a abortion or something like that. And it's just like, what are you talking about? Like what do any of these things have to do with what we're talking about, sir? Like
Yeah,
you
he
talk.
asked you it.
Oh, go ahead.
He asked you if you were pro life.
Oh yeah. That's what he
Mm-hmm.
did. Yeah, yes, he was our pro-life, and it's just like, what does that got to do with what we talking about? Whether I am or whether I'm not, what does that have to do with what we talking about? And I just really feel like he was just trying to cause discord, amongst the women, because what does that got to do? What does that got to do with anything, man? Like it's just ridiculous. And he wanted to talk about like Planned Parenthood because they always like to talk about that Planned Parenthood and black women and abortion rates as if these white tea women that are not out here doing the same or even worse. Like these white tea girls ain't out here getting bust down. And they not having these babies. Like, I wish that they would stop lying. Like, it's plenty of men. It's a whole trend of men wanting to have intercourse with women, unprotected, but don't want to pay for the consequences, which is a child of having this said unprotected intercourse. So you think these other girls aren't doing that too? It's not just a black thing. And as I was trying to tell them, is that abortions are not regulated and recorded properly. So you can't get an exact number or a right figure because a lot of them are not recorded. So it's just like, come on now. You're not about to just try to put this on black women. It's just ridiculous. And then it's like they want to talk about the people, the babies being unalive, but why you not talking about the people that are not in the womb that are unalive? Why you not talking about the epidemic of black men unaliving each other and the high rates of pew pew violence? And like I said earlier, I think a black man is 21 times more likely to be a victim of pew pew violence. So it's like, why you not talking about that? But you want to talk about some abortion? Like, oh, okay.
And like they really care about these kids. They don't care about these kids. Like I literally, unless it's a black male that's playing football or basketball, one of them. Because when my daughter was playing volleyball, you could barely eat. Them stands was majority women, and it was not men there. And even in the other sports, when we go to see the women's basketball, it was still a scarcity. They no, they don't care about these kids, and if they did, they wouldn't complain so much about child support and all them other little things that they complain about. That at the end of the day, when a woman takes care of the child, she's putting majority of her finances into that child. So, and she's not complaining, she's just doing what she got to do. I don't understand why they can't do the same thing, but they want to be talking about some abortions. I don't get that. I just don't. Y'all don't barely even take care of y'all kids. Yeah, are they doing better as men taking care of their kids? Yes, but there is still a whole lot of men who are not financially doing anything for their kids, who are not there for their kids. They don't even know what school their child go. Well, they might know the school. They don't know the principal name. They don't know the teacher's name. They don't know the report card. They don't know what's on the kids' report cards. They don't know what the kid is learning in the school. They don't know anything. So they don't care that much.
I mean, I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I think that a lot of things that they say is just to weaponize it against black women. It's just it's just something to say. It's kind of just like how, you hear black men all the time online talking about how black women are overweight, black women are obese, this, that, and the third. Black men don't care if a woman got a little bit of meat on their bones because they will get with the biggest back Becky of all time. And they'll love on her. I seen about 3 proposals from um for white tea women that were morbidly obese and the black men were thin. And they just was so happy. But it's the end of the world though. Let it be a black woman. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like everything that they say only applies to black women. That's it. That's it. Yes. And I agree with Tanisha in the comments. She said they ask a question to bait you into an argument to derail the convo. Exactly. That's why when a lot of times if you try to ask them something directly, they start off going off the rails. And I have to be like, hey, no, answer that question directly. Oh, well, wait a minute. I gotta say this first to get there. No, you don't. Answer the question. Answer the question now. And they don't. It's crazy. Like I said, I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like we just got to get more you know we have to get more organized as women to stop these things from happening. Like I feel like we have to build some type of support system because maybe if this woman that was unalived by her baby daddy, he's clearly a loser and a ghetto hood booger. You can see it by looking at his face. Maybe if there was like a network where of women, that she could stay with somebody, or we could all pool our money together and she could get in an extended stay in another state and was able to get away from him while he, whatever he did, because he was eventually going to go to jail for something else, even if he didn't go to jail for this, until it was safe for her, and maybe she could have avoided him, in his rage. I just wish that we could, have some type of way where we can help each other more, because even though there are domestic violence places, there still aren't enough to support everybody. And sometimes those places are not the best. So it's like, there are some women that may not feel comfortable going there. Like some of the shelters, like, don't be the cleanest and be like dirty. And like, so imagine you're a Black woman, you work a job, you live a good life, but this man is threatening your life, and so you got your own house or you got your own apartment. It's real nice. You got your own car. You have a good environment, and then people just want you to go stay in a shelter. Oh, no problem, Special K. People want you to stay like in a shelter in a place that's not up to your standards. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that you'll be like, well, shoot, if the alternative is unalive, and then for sure I want to stay there. But the women don't know that then that's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So also I think that sometimes women that are mentally broken sometimes alert boyfriends and husbands to the locations of the shelter. I know that for a fact. um you know and I just wish that we could, as women, do something a little better. But then it's like there's also a danger factor to the woman helping, because sometimes women will get away from abusive men and then start talking to them again, or then take them back. And so then if you were to let someone stay with you in an abusive situation, if they weren't serious, then they could put you in danger too. So I'm not for sure how we could actually, put these things in progress or process, I guess. But I really hope that we can. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. China, I know that happens. I was at a domestic violence shelter, and I saw a man waiting outside, and you could tell that he was one of the men that it was a Black man, one of the men that was beating the brakes off the women, and she told him where she was at, which is unfortunate, because not only do you put all the other women that are staying there at risk. Let's see here. Your bestie says also the women are so male centered. It's hard for them to break free without therapy. Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. You know, I so I don't know, y'all. This live wasn't meant to be, I guess, really long. And I'm already irritated that it wasn't able to get out to more people, because maybe this could spark more people to talk about it, talk about Black femicide or whatever. But I hit an hour, you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead, I guess, and end the live, because I get my main page back, I think at like 10:30 or something like that. So I think that what I'm gonna do is I'm definitely gonna go live on my main page about this exact same topic, and see if I can get more engagement there, but it's only for awareness, because I actually prefer when it's less people, because it's less opportunity for people to report or try to mess up a serious conversation. But yeah, I'm gonna go live on my main page, and hopefully that works. But thanks so much to Special K for coming up. Thanks so much for your bestie in the comments. China, PG 1908. Who else was in here? Tanitra. Um, let's see here. Nayusi, I think. Hold on, I want to make sorry about that. Nayusi. And all of you other ladies, thank y'all so much for being in here and taking the time to listen. For real. It means a lot. All right. I'll see you guys later. I will be going live probably in a couple hours when my main page gets unblocked, and I'll talk about it then. Oh, you're welcome, Harmony. All right, you guys. I'll see y'all later. Today, it's going to be about BLK women and their unalivings. I have to be very careful with my words about this story. It's absolutely insane. And I think that we really have to start speaking about BLK women losing their lives at the hands of men that they, have children by, they've dated, they've married, and the type of, unhinged behavior that's going on. Because I find a lot of, violence being directed towards the BW. But you never hear about this same type of violence and aggression being used against their oppressors. And I think it's very important to talk about it. Very important today to talk about it because I know I'm tired of every single solitary day that I log on line or I get on social media, me seeing another BW that has lost her life at the hands of a bandit. And I really think that we got to talk about why this is happening, and really, why it's happening. But we can't stop it from happening. But we can talk about the best way to protect ourselves and stop it from happening. Yeah, I think his hair has been pulled out. Wow, like it looks like it might have been in braids or something like that. I think his hair might be pulled out of the style. Hey, how you doing, Faina? Yeah, so yes, the story is insane, Unbreakable. And that's what really, made me want to talk about it. And it's crazy because when these things happen to BLK women, if you notice, not that many people talk about it, not that many people speak about it. But BLK women are the first people to advocate for literally everybody. Oh, protect these people, protect those people, protect these people. When things happen to us, nobody says anything. It's just like, oh, well, and that's why it's so important for us to stick together and, and uplift each other. Wow, the man has been abusing women for quite a while, multiple different women. Article I read about it, the women were absolutely terrified. They tried to get away. They didn't know what to do. He was doing a lot of things to them. So, the women were trying to break away. They just couldn't. Because there was another woman, he has another baby mama that he was abusing as well. So, like I said, when you look at the statistics, when you think about how higher the rates of a BLK man being unalived by pew pew violence by a man that looks like him versus the rates of it versus other communities, or you look at the rates that a BLK woman is 11 times more likely to be unalived while pregnant than other races of women. The fact that BLK women make up 10% of the female population here in the United States, yet 59 to 60% of all unalivings of women, then we have to admit that there's a problem. Especially when the majority of the time, it is a man that looks like her that is ending her life. Like, these things we have to talk about. We can't wash it away and say that it's bashing to acknowledge it. If you don't acknowledge it, nothing can ever change. Nothing can ever change. Man Friday, I just sent you a request to get in the box. Please tell me what I said was false. Because everything that I just said, fact check it, is completely accurate and correct. And that's another thing that's very infuriating. Like, you can see a problem, the world can see a problem, and yet there will still be men, specifically BLK men, that will say, oh, that's a lie. That's not true. Even they can see it standing right in front of their eyes. And that to me is almost disingenuous. And no, it's not almost, it is disingenuous, because imagine a BLK man talking about his experience with the police or the fear that he feels when he's out in the world. And he sees a police officer come behind him, even if he's following all the rules and is law abiding. If I say, oh, that's false, you feel that way. That's not happening. Nobody's doing anything to you, really. Imagine the response that would occur if I said something like that. Imagine the response that would happen if I said that. That man dropped. I didn't drop him. That man dropped. I didn't drop him. He left. So I'm not quite for sure. What's going on? Domo, you there?
Yeah,
Where are you from?
I'm from St. Louis.
Okay, and are you the color as this man that's in this picture?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. What did you have to say?
Why you think black men violent? Or
You
so
tell
violent?
me. You tell me. Like you came up here, so you want to answer the questions on the prompt. You
Oh
tell me
yeah,
why you
you
think.
right. You right. I don't think black men are that violent, whereas violent as it's pushed to be.
So you think that these women that are getting abused by these men, like this man right here that unalived this woman by poking her several times in all her vital organs. He said that she suffered. He said that when he saw her, he didn't understand why he did what he did. He covered up with the sheet. You think that she caused that, or what?
Maybe he was some wrong with him. I'm not gonna just speak on him because I don't even know about that situation right there.
Okay, so then can you explain to me why the numbers of things like this happening to women, it happens to black women the most here in the United States? Why do you think that the rates for black women is elevated?
I
Why do you
mean,
think
but
that
if we
black
if we
women
going off domestic violence, women on women, specifically black women on black women, got the highest rate of domestic violence.
Okay, so let's talk about black femicide. The majority of all violent acts around the world, around the globe, including here, are committed by men. Period.
For
So
sure, I agree with that.
you bringing up like, you know what I'm saying? I guess you're talking about like G women. It doesn't even make any sense.
Nah, cause you
The
said
highest rates of violence come from men. It always has. It always will.
for
So
sure.
what are
I
you
agree
saying?
with you on that. But you said that why is there so many cases like this against black women? And I was
Yes.
just
Why
stating the
are
point
black
that
women being unalive? Absolutely.
I
There,
mean,
black
yeah,
women aren't unaliving black women on any notable percentage because 90% of all unalivings here in the United States take place at a man's hands. At a man's hands. And 95 plus percent if you're talking about global rates. So yes, I'm talking about men because men are the ones doing the majority of it. We're not going to talk about a small percentage. That's why we're talking about men.
you're right. But I never asked why we was talking about men. I was just answering your question. All right, but
What
let's
you
go to the
did, you
second
just
one.
deflected and tried to talk about women
How? You
because
asked
you
me a
said
question and
you
I
started
gave you an
talking
answer.
about women on women violence.
Cause you asked why are the rates so high with domestic violence against black women, and I gave you a statistic.
You didn't give me a statistic because
Yes,
you're
I
not.
did. You can
Once
look it up.
again, tell me why there are so many black men unaliving black women.
You
They are
changed
the
your
ones to
question.
be
That's not
talked
what you
about because
asked me
that's
at
the
first, though.
highest percentage.
That's
You
not what.
said a
That's not what
lie.
you
The
asked me at
highest
first, though.
percentage is not women.
You.
It's
That's
not.
not what you asked me at first, though. You
You
didn't say unalived at first.
yet yes, I did.
Oh, if you
What top
did, I
what
didn't hear
top
you.
what is
That's
the
my.
top
I
of the
apologize if you did. I didn't
yes,
hear you.
what does the top of the screen say? It says black what?
Femicide.
Yes, that is what? The unaliving of black women.
Yeah. But look, you had said domestic violence. That's what I heard. But if
It's
you did,
still
you
a
said you
higher
didn't.
rate
I
when it comes.
apologize.
Yeah, yeah. My thing is this is that if my thing is this is that if you would think about why you wanted to bring that up as opposed to the actual topic that we're talking about. Why you would want to bring up women when you know that the majority of violent acts come from men. Why you want women when you know that the majority of violent acts come from men. Why you wanted to use women as a throw off. I think that that's a crazy thing to do. You don't think so? Do you think that comes off that
I mean, if you
you don't
taking it in
care?
that context, then yeah, it is a crazy thing to do. But I wouldn't saying it like that. I ain't know we was going off femicide. I thought you just talking about strictly domestic violence. That's anything. That's just putting
Femicide
your
is
hands on
domestic
somebody.
violence because the majority of women that lose their lives at the hands of a man is their partner or somebody they used to talk to. So it is still domestic.
True. But it's more to domestic violence than just that, though. That's what I was trying to say.
What's
But
more to it?
I can hear, huh?
What's more to it?
So you think domestic violence is just unaliving?
I think that men don't fear women in the way that women fear men.
For
I don't
sure.
think that when these men are all on social media bragging about how they cheated on their girlfriend or they did this and that and the third, that they don't think that their girlfriend is going to come home and beat the brakes off of them, put them in the dirt, unalive them, do any of these things. I don't think that when you're out in the world and you're getting in your car and you see a group of women, you're not like, oh my gosh, I think they might kidnap me and take me somewhere and grape me in my life. So no, there is a definite difference in your reality and a woman's reality. And to act like it's not is to be insensitive. And that's
But
just at the
look,
very
hold
least,
on.
you're
You
being
saying I'm
insensitive.
acting like it's not? I never said it wasn't.
So
Like,
then let's
where did
talk
you
about
get
why
that
you
from?
think black femicide is happening.
You
Why do
said
you
why?
think, yes.
Shit. I don't. I can't even put my finger on it. It's like too much going on with it. I don't think you're gonna like my answer for real. I'm not gonna
Oh
lie.
no, go ahead. I mean, I haven't liked any of your answers, but it's cool. Like I don't have to agree with you. But tell me the answer that I won't like to hear. Go ahead.
Look, 50% of it is black women fault
Why is that?
because they out here on the internet showing their body off, like cheating on their man at the clubs and shit. Then they come home and expecting that.
So then how come do you think that if you cheated on have you ever cheated on your girl?
For sure.
Okay, so do you think that she had a right to put a bullet in your brain or no?
I mean, if she could, she would, but no, she didn't have
Okay,
a right.
but do you think that she has a right to do that?
No,
Okay, so right to do that.
no.
Okay, so then what are you talking about then, sir? What you're saying sounds
Right don't
absolutely
have to.
ridiculous.
But look, having a right to do something that don't mean nothing.
Okay, so
You don't
then
have to
why
right.
do you then let me ask you a question then. Why do you think black men's rates of deleting each other is also extremely high? Is it because y'all are unruly,
It's a
ignorant
pride issue.
nigaboos? Is that what you think?
Yeah. You could call it that. I say it's a pride issue.
Okay, so then if y'all are unaliving each other and you're making excuses for that, just talking about his pride,
It's not an
th-
excuse. That's I mean you asked what was the reason. That's the reason. Shit.
try not to use cuss words. What
My
you're
fault.
saying, what you're saying I'm sorry, my timer went off. What you're saying doesn't make any sense. It's completely illogical. It makes no sense that when black women are losing their lives because they're showing their bodies. Black men want women to show their bodies, which is the reason
No,
why
no,
you
I
go out
didn't
on a
mean it
date with a
like that.
man,
I didn't
and the
mean it
first
like
thing he's
that.
asking you to
If
do
you
is
going
drop those
out and
drawers.
flaunting your body for other men all over social
So
media and in the
you think
clubs,
the
and then you come
majority,
home to your man,
you think the
knowing
majority.
these black men are
Oh,
crazy.
stop it. You think the majority of women that are losing their lives are losing their lives because they're showing their bodies? You can't be that stupid. You can't be that dumb. But you know what?
You not
I
listening.
understand what
You
I'm getting
not
because
listening.
no, you're not listening
I'm
because what you're
listening.
saying is stupid.
I heard everything you said.
Go ahead. This is so difficult for me, y'all.
I don't want
Go
her to
ahead.
share it. She was talking crazy in the comments.
Hello. Yeah. I
Hey, how
just
you
wanted.
doing, Cherry?
I'm good. How are you?
Not so good because this is very difficult to
Yeah.
talk to this person.
Well,
Um,
the reason
yeah.
I came up was just to give the different perspective. Like, I feel like the reason for femicide, black femicide, is because we live in a patriarchy. So men are already accustomed to committing violence against women. In this patriarchy, black women are at the bottom, the most disrespected. So black men know that if they harm black women, that there are less consequences, especially because men already uphold violence against women within the society. So, like, men don't hold each other accountable. They're okay with harming women. Um, so yeah, that's what I think.
All right. I definitely think that you have a point. Am I saying it right, Cherry? Okay, okay. I just want to make sure. Yeah, Domo. I feel like everything that you said is like literally out of a horror movie. A woman showing her body, even if she had a man or didn't. You unaliving somebody, you doing the things that this man did in the picture is insane. there's no excuse for unaliving anybody at
I'm
all,
not
because
making the
if cheating
excuse.
if cheating what or cheating or acting like you're for the streets, quote unquote, was something that would be an unaliving offense, there would be literally only 5% of black men left here in America.
But look, I'm
So
not making them excuse. I'm telling you the reason that these people are doing what they're doing, and that you can't say that that's not part of the reason.
that's definitely not part of the reason. The
Oh
part of
my.
the reason is that black men are emotionally unregulated. They are emotional and
Okay,
very
and if you go
volatile.
do what I just said, is that not gonna play with the man emotions, and is he
Okay,
not
do
gonna
you know
react?
how many women are unalive just because they didn't want to be with a man anymore? Most of the
That's
stories that you
another
hear about,
reason.
women are telling men, "Hey, I don't want to be with you anymore. You don't
Women
treat me
have their
properly.
Then they
You're
emotions
talk. Then
leaving
they
me."
talking about
played
I
with
sound
all the
abusive in the
time.
comments. Like, come
Women
You
on,
have
do
bro.
their
sound
emotions
abusive.
played
You
with all
do
the
sound
How?
time.
abusive. You sound abusive,
How?
and also you sound psychotic. And any woman that know you personally, I urge you to avoid this man at all costs. This is a ticking time bomb. This is a lunatic for
Now I'm a
sure. Absolutely.
lunatic. Now I'm a lunatic. That's
Yes, you're a
crazy.
lunatic for
That's
sure.
crazy.
I'm not gonna lie to you. You're a lunatic, sir. You
Break
haven't
Trigger,
it
can I
proven
down
say
for
that.
me on
something?
how I'm a lunatic, cause I don't get it.
Trigger, can I say something? It aggravates me when they always say, oh, when you play with a man's emotions, women get their emotions and manipulated all of the time and lied to. We get cheated on all of the time. That does not give us the right to unalive you guys.
Girl, you know what? If women started doing the things that men did, there would be no excuses to be made. None at all. You wouldn't hear a
No,
man
we get
like
our
him get up
feelings
here
hurt
and say that.
every day. We
You
get our
know
But
that.
feelings
look,
hurt every
y'all trying to
day.
make it seem like I'm talking about me.
You are the fact that you felt comfortable to say something so crazy is an indicator of the character of a man that you are, honestly. But like I said, you have 9mm in your picture, so we already know what type of man you are. But let me just keep going. Go ahead, beautiful. Your
I
bars
can't
are up
support
though,
the
sis.
Second Amendment.
I look, any type
Against
of
women
man
that you
that
want to
says
hold
that he thinks that
accountable.
he could unalive somebody
Don't y'all like the
for
13th
cheating.
Amendment? Why can't I like the second?
I certainly don't think that you should be in charge of any type of uh uh yeah. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, beautiful, if you had something to say.
Hi, I just wanted to answer the prompt.
Go
So,
ahead.
all right, so my perspective is this. Number one, there could be a plethora of reasons why a black man is violent. My thing is, it's a choice. It's a choice. A man could have a lot of things going on with him, but at the end of the day, being violent with somebody, especially a woman, that's a choice. And real men know this. Self-actualized men know that. And so there's no excuse. Like, a person could say, "Oh, it's because they have unhealed trauma. Oh, it's because they had a hard life. Oh, it's because." But there are other people who have had hard lives, and yet they choose not to be violent. There's no excuse for that. Then there's no excuse for that. It's a choice. You know, there's not like I resent what Domo is saying, even if he means it in a different way, because there are men out here that see ass cheeks out every day, and yet they decide not to harass, not to be violent, not to impose their desires on anybody.
And look,
So
my point was,
let me finish. I'm not
my
finished
fault. I
answering your point.
apologize.
Number two, how can black women protect themselves? Um, Take a self-defense class, learn how to use a pew pew, and if all that man has is words for you, he's not to be trusted. You never, all these, because a lot of times a man will tell you something, but then fail to show you tangibles. Will fail, like he'll say, "Oh, I love you, I'll do this for you," but fail to perform. If that man is not performing, if he telling you something but showing you something else, it's time to go. You stay away from him. Decenter men. That's another thing. You know, only deal with black men who show you love, who by their actions show you that they're gonna be there for you. And number three, yeah, yes. Because, you know, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, a lot of times horrific things happen because there's a lack of accountability. Is somebody in that man's life that's failing to hold him accountable, that's smiling in his face, and that's letting him do whatever he wants to do. Men do not hold themselves accountable as often as they should be. It's always an excuse. What was she wearing? Where was she at? Why did she do that? Why did she do this? Why is she? But you in control of your own autonomy, though. What you choose, like, that's you, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's no excuse here, because again, when you got men out here that refuse to put their hands on a woman no matter what, it's like, you can't sit up here and tell me it's the women, come on now, bro. Like, stop it. Stop that.
You know, I find it to be crazy because it's like when there have been, BLK men that have lost their lives by the police while they were in actually doing something that they had no business doing. There is nothing but, people to be expected to support them, to empathize with them, to sympathize with them, to support and rock behind that. But then when people talk about Black femicide, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's not that big a deal, or it's not a problem because it's these women's fault. That is the most dumbest and most ignorant thing that you could ever say. Because my thing
It's
is
the men
that
they choose. It's the men they choose.
it's crazy because it's like if I saw Domo in public and I just sent you downstairs because of all the things that you said that I felt extremely offended by, would that be wrong? Would that be right? Would that be okay? Would that be moral? No, right? But for some reason, you felt like it was cool to say because women aren't doing whatever y'all think that they should do, that it's okay to unalive them. Just the simple fact that he said that, the simple fact that his first response was to bring up women on women, all of it is just there's so much of a lack of empathy towards Black women from Black men that is absolutely disgraceful. And this is why I will forever say, unless I know you personally as a Black man and I know what type of character you have, qualities like you're actually a good man because I know you, I would never give any of y'all a lick of empathy. Not a drop of it. I don't care if you get okey doked in the worst way. I don't care if you was with 25 foster children that you took care of, that you were helping and you were uplifting, and somebody just unalived you in the most freakiest way accidentally. I wouldn't feel a drip of pity for you. Because it's so many of y'all that come up here and feel no problem having such a lack of empathy towards Black women. The fact that it could even come out of your ashy, disgusting, dust-filled, booty-smelling mouth that is 50% Black women's fault. It's not a Black woman's fault at all for somebody that is a monster and an animal taking their life.
But
Period.
look, if y'all know that
But
these
look,
people are
nothing. But look,
worried,
nothing. I'm
why
done
does
talking to you. You sound like you dropped out of school in 3rd grade. And that's what I mean. And that is what I think. If anything, Black women have got to stop doing. Stop giving these slow nignogs a chance that were left behind. They've never seen an A or a B in their entire school academic career. They didn't graduate or they got a GED. They super slow. All they do is play NBA 2K all day and smoke blunts. Those type of men you got to leave alone. Like they come up here and talk all slow, like they have never read a book one day in their life. Those are the number one men to avoid because those are the men that are going to take your life because they have nothing to lose. Not that the educated men won't do it as well, but those pookies, those bandits, those dust buckets you've got to stay away from. And it's so funny to me is those dust buckets you've got to stay away from. And it's so funny to me is that he probably has a girl. He probably has a woman that talks to him. And that is what I want Black women to stop doing. You hear men that sound slow and dumb like that and goofy? You've got to run. Don't give them no chance. Don't say, oh, our black men, they don't have access to education. They need our help. Run. Because those uneducated Negroes will be the end of you. You know, I just, the only reason why I let him continue to talk as much as I did was just for people to see the stupidity of a lot of them, and also the extreme lack of empathy. So when you think about saying, oh, let's save our black men, let's talk about, let's protect Shannon Sharp from the evil white tea women, let's protect Diddy, don't do it. Don't. Because where are they when something happens to us? Nowhere, except saying that it's our fault. And it's crazy because none of these Negroes even pay attention. He doesn't even know the story that I put up here. He don't know nothing about it. Not only because he's uneducated, but because he wouldn't care anyway. You know what I'm saying? But I bet he's somewhere talking about free Tory Lanez. You get what I'm saying? It's absolutely disgusting to me. Like, if anybody can take anything out of this, please stop entertaining men that show you before in advance that they have no humanity. That man that was up here didn't have any humanity. You know what I'm saying? And he sounded delayed as well. Sounded like, he what is it? The umbilical cord was probably wrapped around a little bit too long and cut off oxygen to his brain when he was birthed. So it left him very cognitively impaired. But he sounded definitely slow and a definite abuser, for sure. For sure. If y'all don't think that man has knocked a woman's head between a washer and dryer before, I don't know what to tell you. Honestly. But as I said before, black femicide is a real thing. It's a real problem. It's a real issue. And I'm tired of seeing it. Every day I log on to social media, I see another poor, unfortunate black woman that has lost her life. And nobody's talking about it. And all of these men that a lot of black women listen to that talk about they uplift black women and all this other pandering, grifting BS they do, I don't see them talking about this that much. I don't see them ever talking about it. Ever bringing up stories of women that have been harmed at the hands of these monsters. But anyway, let me go up here to Cherry and then Vernell. You had something to say, Cherry?
I can just answer the second prompt for how
Okay.
can black women protect themselves. I feel like black women need to focus on self-love. A lot of the time black women are looking for love outside themselves and they're looking for love in a man, which is normal. But a lot of these men lack humanity, like you said. So they're not capable of love. And it's important to give to yourself, date yourself, take time to literally feed and pour into yourself so that you will know what your boundaries are, so you will be able to see the red flags. Like, literally get to know yourself and love yourself. That's how you can protect yourself.
All right, Cherry. Let me go down here to Vernell. Did you have anything to say, Vernell?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and piggyback off the cherries about self-love. Get into the habit of going out by yourself, taking yourself out to eat, hanging out with your friends. When you don't feel good about yourself, they can smell that on you, and they know that you're eager to please them and eager to keep a man, and you not being submissive and you're not being a woman. They're trying to force you to cook for them. You'll be providing their home cooked meals. They're not going to put any food in your house. They're not going to be paying any of your bills. They're not going to do anything for you. And what they're going to do is bully you for your resources by calling it submission. They're going to be in your house punching holes in your wall because you didn't cook them dinner and they got to buy food. They have to, basically, you're there to subsidize their income through your desperation. And I'll pass.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. I definitely agree with everything that you ladies are saying. I guess I'm not in a very good headspace because I just feel like black women, always spend their time advocating for other people constantly and consistently. But when there is a need for black women to be shown any type of compassion, any type of empathy, people to speak up for them, these people are nowhere to be found. And there are so many black women losing their lives in the most heinous of ways possible. Just like there was another story of a man that was upset with his mother and his sister, and he went and unalived his mom, his sister, and also the 9-year-old niece, and put them in a car and burnt it up. And it's just like it's so many stories like this, time after time after time after time. And it's just like people just say, oh, like people like Domo that was up here, oh, it was their fault. It was their fault. They brought it on themselves. They shouldn't have talked to that man like that. Well, how come y'all feel like y'all
They're
can
not
talk
being
however you want?
submissive. They're
It's
not being
crazy.
submissive.
Um,
And they want,
oh,
I
you go.
also think they want to hold us. I'm sorry, I'm triggered.
No, you go ahead, sis.
Also, to this holding women accountable thing and submission, all of that has a correlation to domestic violence. You having your own money, you having your independence, being able to come and go as you please. They're not the providers. And then they're angry because, they can't really go against anybody else. So that just leaves us to, be the victims of their anger and, you having a good job, you looking nice and wearing weave and makeup, all that stuff angers them. Just like the guy Donald that was just up here. It's like they're just angry that you're beautiful, that your body looks nice, you're going to the gym. Any form of success is really threatening them, which can bring domestic violence, them wanting to fight you and wanting to hold you accountable for nothing.
Sorry, you guys. I keep having problems unmute myself. Like I said, I guess I feel like the only way for us to combat this issue, because we can't stop men and we can't stop Black men from attempting to unalive us, of course. The thing that we can do is to become, as wise as possible to not entertain certain types of men, because the majority of Black women are unalived by men that they knew or know, or men that they have, dated or have relationships with, or it's their baby daddy or whatever. So I think more Black women need to become, if you're in a state where you can, in most states you can, you need to arm yourself for sure. I said this on an earlier live that you need to make sure that you go to a pew pew class, have someone instruct you if you don't know anything about pew pews. This is take a pew pew class, have them educated you on loading, unloading, the way to safely store it, how that you should always keep it on you. In my opinion, no matter where you are, you get you a nice little conceal. No matter where you are, you get you a nice little conceal holster that you can wear underneath your clothing, because it's easier if you keep it underneath your clothing than in your purse or your bag, because you may not be near your bag, or what if somebody takes your purse or whatever. So it needs to be on your person. You also need to go to the pew pew range so that you can make sure that you can actually, hit the target and do what you have to do. These things are very important. If you're not in a position to where you can own a pew pew, then you need to definitely make sure that you have a lot of things that can do damage, like those type of personal defense keychains with the pokey things on them, tasers, things of that nature, all of those things. And and one of the biggest things is, I'm not into blaming victims or anything like that, but there have been so many Black women that have been unalived by a man that has been to prison or jail in some way. My opinion is, if a man has been to jail or prison, I don't care if it was a violent offense or not. If he wasn't just arrested, and let go the next day for a ticket, like a parking ticket or a speeding ticket, that's the only exception. Anything outside of that, you need to absolutely disqualify him. Any man that's
You
been
know
in
what's
prison,
sad
any
about
man that's
that?
been in jail. Just
That's
one
going to
second.
minimize.
Any man, and I'm really mean this, any man that's been in prison, any man that's been in jail, because there's been a lot of stories that I've read where women say, oh, he just got home, or he was in there for 2 years, he was in there for 3 years, he was in there for 5, he was in there for 10. Do not entertain any man. I don't care if he told you he's turned his life around. I don't care. If he's been to jail or been to prison, he's a no. Don't do it. Protect your life. Go ahead, Vernell.
I got two things I want to do. I want to tell you a story, and then I also wanted to respond about what you said about not dealing with men that have been in prison. It's so funny that they always say that they don't want to date women that have kids, but I'm like, I wish if we held them to that standard that we don't want to deal with men that have criminal records, they would be in serious trouble. That's the first thing. And also, it will pretty much take out 50% of our dating options because a lot of them have criminal records. And then the second thing I wanted to talk about, I know this guy who is a passport bro, and he's like in his 50s, and he married this girl that's half his age in Jamaica. And the funniest thing is we've been going back and forth with these topics like black women this and black men that. We've been going back and forth over this for years. So anyway, yesterday morning, he sent me a text message, and it was of a black woman, and the caption said, my man has to have six figures. My man has to have, 6 figures, 6-pack, and all of that. So I just texted him like, look, moving forward, I'm tired of these conversations. Like, you're more than welcome to send me any kind of content or something entertaining, but this is starting to become like obsessive. Like, you already married a woman, your passport bro, you married a woman that's not in America, that's half your age, and she's beautiful, and she doesn't have children, but now you're still harassing women here. So I wound up telling him I didn't want any more of those pictures, anything being negative towards black women. So then he's like, okay, well, I'm not going to send nothing. I'm not going to send anything about entertainment, no politics. I won't send nothing. And I'm like, you can send something. Like, he was like trying to guilt me because I didn't want to accept that text message at 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to be told that I'm undesired every day. Anyway, long story short, he was just saying that women get offended when men try to give advice. And I'm just sitting there saying to myself, are you calling harassing black women like giving them advice? And it's like, he was like really, really angry, that women don't want to be held accountable. Like, dude, you're married. You married a woman out of the country that's half your age. Why? Like, it just doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. And he's sponsoring this woman. He can't even touch her, but he's just still harassing black women here. And I'll pass.
I think that happens a lot. I think it happens a lot here. Like, I think it was yesterday. There was a man he's not from America. He's not a black American man. And he's married to a Lebanese woman. I think they said his name was Level Harder or Level Up or something like that. And he was in the live trying to talk to black women about all of this other BS. And I told him, I said, hey, why aren't you somewhere talking to Lebanese women? Why aren't you somewhere talking to the Lebanese community? Isn't that who you married with? Married into? You married into that community. You black women aren't your business. Why are you talking about anything?
And they keep calling it advice. I'm trying to help y'all. And, y'all need to get a man. And that's why you don't have a man. And because women of other races, like, y'all are bullying us at this point, trying to call and wrap it up as like you're trying to help us. And then it's called unsolicited advice and getting angry that you don't want to hear that you're undesired. Like, what the heck? That's why our men is going to get their passports. Just get it already. Why do I have to keep hearing this announcement every 30 seconds?
I wouldn't take any advice from a demographic that unalives.
It's not even advice.
What we say, unalives their women the most. A pregnant black woman is 11 times more likely to be unalived than any other pregnant women. Why in the world they don't even respect a woman when she's pregnant. They don't respect women when they're older. They don't respect the babies neither. Why in the world would I listen to anything that they had to say? And I really think it is that, the abuse of black women or wanting to put them down and degrade them, and that desire and yearning for it, it never stops. So even though they may have a woman that's not black that's in their life, that yearning for the degradation of the black woman is a appetite that can never be sated. And that's the reason why so many men that are supposedly so passport broed out and so happy still find themselves all the time in black women's business and in black women's spaces. That's what I think.
I mean, coming to argue with you about absolutely nothing. I've been in TikTok lives and the men will jump on the live and don't like, dude, that's not even, you didn't even read the prompt. You just came in with women do it too. And then what kills me is when they come in with these percentages and these statistics. Like, screw those numbers. Like, how many women do you know that have to get a man put out of their house? Or how many women do you know that experience some type of violence to a Pookie? Oh, well, that's because it's the Pookies and Ray Rays. Who are the Pookies and Ray Rays? Who are the Pookies and Ray Rays? That's the part that kills me. Oh, and women are gold diggers. Well, who are the men that are, when they leave prison, where do the men go home to? They go home to women. You're not going to go and help your homeboy out when he needs a place to stay or when he goes to prison. He's going to call a woman. And that's the issue, that they can't get us to do what they want us to do because we're being independent and we're not as male-centered as we was. We don't really care about marriage no more. And they're crashing out because that's how they're going to get their home-cooked meals, and that's how they're going to get their clothes washed, and that's how they're going to have more stability in their life. They're going from apartment to their grandma's house, to their sister's house, to their aunt's house, and they need women to get in line. And because we're not getting in line, this is why the femicide is also so high. They also want to be able to have multiple wives. They're trying to convince us to accept polygamy because in the Bible it says that men can have multiple wives and men are not destined to be monogamous. It's not they're naturally polygamous. And then they want you to be exclusive to them while you have to take care of yourself and pay your own bills, and they want to see who they want to see, and then you can't even see anybody because if you see anybody, if they go through your phone, then they're going to unalive you. At this point, I think the safest thing to do is to not date, and I'll pass.
Okay. I did want to talk about a little bit of why I personally think that, the men in our community are the most violent towards us. And I think that also, because a lot of men that are very quick to disrespect a Black woman, but if they feel disrespected by a white T woman or a white T man, they're on hush mode. I think a lot of it is that they are angry at the position that they have in society, and also angry at a lot of their circumstances. And the only people that they think that they can take this out on without a serious repercussion is Black women. So, and because they know that the Black woman is widely unprotected. And this isn't to say that, for any Black woman that's listening, to say that you may not feel protected by somebody in your life, but I'm talking about collectively, Black women know, and so does the world, that we are in a state of, well, I don't know if this is the word, unprotection. Like, we don't have any protection. There's a lack of it. And like, I just know, and I've had so many conversations with so many different Black women that they already know that if something is to go left out in public, that more than likely they may not have the help and assistance of anyone, and definitely not the help and assistance of, most BLK men. So the fact that that's a thing, that already lets these men know that, hey, yeah, I'm going to be able to beat the brakes off of this girl and probably nobody's going to do anything about it. And then also, due to anti-Blackness, if she tries to go to jail or tries to go to court on me, something may or may not happen. I may get in trouble, I may not, because if she's a Black woman being attacked, people don't care as much. I also think that coddling has a lot to do with it. So many Black women coddle and uplift piss poor, bottom of the barrel Black men all the time. That's the reason why, just like Vernell was saying, when these men get out of prison, they get out of jail, the first place they're going to is Big Mama's house, they mama, or they regular mama's house, or they sister's crib, or some woman that they sold dreams to on
Baby
the
mama.
phone. Baby mama, all of these different ways, all of these women are their support system and their safety net when they have nothing to contribute to society.
No men. No men.
And so my thing is that with the coddling, and the insistence on being so lenient with the young boys in the community, but being so hard on the girls, that's something that has to be dealt with, because those things I do feel like Black women can fix, because those are contributing factors, as well as Black women entertaining men that they already knew were beneath them because they want to have a man around or a male presence. Like, this man been in jail, he ain't got nothing. You know that he ain't no good. So why in the world are you entertaining him and then shocked? I remember I saw another story of a young Black woman that broke up with this guy that she'd been dating for 6 months. She had a child as well by somebody else. She'd been dating him for 6 months, broke up with him. He had just got out of prison like a year ago for unaliving somebody, but he ended up getting off like because he did it when he was a juvenile and he was like 23 or something like that. And he went there and unalived her, like outside her car when she was coming out. And everybody was just so shocked by it, but it was like, not to victim blame or anything, but why would you ever entertain some type of dusty, no good bandit when you got your own place, you got your own car, you got a child that you raising that just got out of jail for unaliving somebody? Like,
Because they
why would
teach
you
us to
entertain?
build them up, because you got to build them up. And these females don't want to help a brother out. You hear that enough, and being a ride or die, and oh, you wifey type. Nobody wants to help a brother when they down in the system, all of that. You hear that enough? Oh, well, he's changing, or well, he's trying. Or, oh, well, every guy's not going to be a finished product. He has potential. And then you think that you can fix them and help them out. It's a
Yes,
mess. Mess up your...
and I definitely think that those type of thoughts Black women have got to unpack from. Like, you're not the savior. You cannot save the man. You cannot help the man. You cannot build the man. If he is not coming to you already built, you need to tell him, bye-bye, see you later. Maybe if I see you again and you're built up, maybe then I'll entertain you. If not, maybe then I'll entertain you. If not, no. And if the man has been to jail, as I said before, or prison, there is no coming back around. He is a complete disqualification forever, forever and ever and ever and ever again. Also, if he's ever put his hands on a woman, you talk to her forever and ever and ever and ever again. Also, if he's ever put his hands on a woman, you talk to him. If he likes red pill, don't talk to him. If he has multiple baby mamas, don't talk to him. There are so many different things that I feel like could actually, that are educated. Just a second, let me that are educated and they have a lot going for themselves. They have a lot going for themselves, or that aren't capable of this as well. I don't know if y'all remember the Black man that was the anesthesiologist that got mad and went and unalived his like girlfriend and also his ex-wife. I think the ex-wife was like Asian and then the girlfriend was Black or something like that, or maybe it was reversed. But he wasn't a technical, what you would say a pookie or a bandit or a Ray dangerous, but also mentally deranged. So I just want y'all to know that there are so many things that at least you can help minimize this, because a lot of these situations, in my opinion, of these women being unalived, I feel like if, of course, hindsight is 2020, but I do feel like some of the situations could be avoided by being harsher, because so many times people try to get Black women to lower their standards to accept these busted, broken men, because if you look at that man in the picture, nobody would want him other than a Black woman or maybe like a trailer trash Becky. But for the most part, his options aren't very high. But even in the Black community, a man like this can still have access to a lot of Black women. Because Black women are so used to lowering their standards just to have a man around. You guys, if the live keeps buffering, that's probably because people are reporting it. That's why I was like saying, like, if y'all could like the live, because anytime I talk about Black femicide, people get so upset. Let me see in the comments if there's dudes there. I'll block the dudes.
And Triggered, I have one more important thing that I needed to say when you're ready.
Oh, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I'm 35 years old and I get so frustrated at myself. And I've observed, you have homegirls and you hear what happens to them and your family members. Their strongest weapon is their words. What they're going to do is pull out a violin on you and they're going to tell you something very sad. As a woman, and you're nurturing and kind, they're going to play on your empathy and kindness. They're going to tell you, my baby mother, I give her $20,000 a month and she wants more and she won't let me see my kid. They're going to tell you, my wife, we don't sleep together. She doesn't support me. I sleep on the couch. They're going to tell you the saddest story about how they owe $100,000 in child support. And he pays for all the summer camps and hasn't even seen his child in 5 years. And you will just automatically just be ready to kill the baby mom and ready to go to court with him. because of all the triangulation. To just cover your ears. When they start telling you about their problems, start thinking about your own personal problems. When they start telling you that they're short on such and such, start thinking about the things that you have in collections. When they start telling you that they need to go and can you keep their kid and this, that, the third, think about that tub that you have to clean out. Think about something that you have to do for yourself. And I'm going to pass.
I mean, I definitely agree with you. I hope that, any women that are listening really take these things to heart, because I am, you know, it really hurts me. It really hurts me to see so many Black women with futures and dreams that have been cut short too soon by a man that is absolutely worthless. Like this story of this man, how he treated this woman, how he had the nerve to tell the police that she definitely suffered, as he, poked up basically a whole bunch of her vital organs, even punctured her diaphragm. Her friend that said that if I am unalived, he did it. Excuse me. She was absolutely terrified. He had another baby mama who was also terrified. After he unalived his other baby mama, he went to the other girl and said that he wanted to see his kids. Can you imagine how terrified she was, knowing what he had done? So it's just like, I just feel like it's so much trauma, so many things happening, and nobody sees fit to talk about it. It's just like, oh, that's another Black woman lost. That's another Black woman gone. Oh, that's just how it is. And then Black men get to turn around and be in such this privileged position that they can sit there and talk about their biggest fear is seeing a woman with a sew-in in. Their biggest fear is seeing a woman with a wig on, seeing a woman with some eyelashes on. They don't have any conversations about Black femicide. Heck, they don't even have any conversations about why a Black man is like their number one leading cause of unalivings is schmamicide from ages 18 to 40, I think it is. They don't even talk about those things. They don't even talk about the things that affect them. The only things they want to talk about is uplifting other races of women and being buck broken, and then talking about the ways that they can degrade Black women. And that is very, very, very telling about the state and the mentality of the majority of Black men today. And it's sad because I don't see it changing anytime soon. And then the Black men that do have some type of intelligence and some type of empathy, they are shamed by the collective of Black men and called simps and punks. So it's like, exactly how do you expect to improve as a group of males if you can't even applaud the healthy and, normal behavior? You would rather shame the normal behavior and uplift that normal piss poor behavior. It's a scary, scary thing. And I have been touched by domestic violence. One of my closest friends was unalived by her husband. And, these things, people like to come online and say, oh, this isn't happening that much. This not that big a deal. It is that big a deal. It is a very, very big problem. And, I don't know how we can, get the ball rolling to where people can acknowledge this as a real serious problem. Honestly, I don't really expect it to really do too much, because anything that affects Black women directly, nobody cares about. Just simply put, no one cares. Now, I'm not going to be messy on here, but there's plenty of other demographics that people care. Anything happened to them, everybody's hooting and hollering and crying. Even when you look at, like, I don't know if everybody ever goes to Instagram and you look at like pet videos, or you see like a video where somebody's abusing a pet. People have far more empathy for a pet being yelled at or kicked than people have for a Black woman losing her life or being raped or being ex-trafficked. And if that doesn't make Black women want to focus strictly on Black women, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. But anyway, you guys, I don't know. I guess I really don't have anything else to say. I thought that I already went live on this earlier on my backup page because I was banned on this page until like earlier after that. So I probably said most of the stuff I said then, but I just wanted to continue to talk about it because I do feel like it's something worth talking about. And I think what I'm going to do is moving forward, like maybe once a week, I'll talk about a story about another Black woman that has lost her life because unfortunately, I know this isn't going to stop. And then maybe we can like bring it out, you know, and center it more often since other people don't. So I think that's probably what I would do moving forward. To talk about an instance of a Black woman and then bring awareness to it. And you know, any man that's in the chat, if they don't understand the seriousness, definitely shaming you completely and telling women to avoid you and to watch out for you. So yeah, you guys, I think that's probably it. I think really talking about Black femicide is really something I feel so passionate about, but it's also so draining for me to talk about because it's really real for me. Black femicide, domestic violence against Black women, all of these things, it really means something to me, and it also hurts me so bad because I see how no one cares about it. No one cares about it except Black women. Of course, the majority of us would care because we are affected by it. And even if you aren't, you might know somebody. But to see the lack of empathy from men, you know, although it's not surprising, it just makes me sick to my freaking stomach. I was up here to say 50% of women is their fault. Like, boy, if this wasn't TikTok and we was in person, I would tell y'all way more. Because never mind, let me not even say what I'm about to say. All I'm gonna say is people need to be careful with their tongue because there are consequences. Need to be careful with their tongue because there are consequences for how you speak. But go ahead, Vernell.
I was telling my friend earlier, the funniest thing that I've noticed that I've had to do is I get a lot of requests on Facebook, you know, from Black men, whatever. And I have this thing where I'll go to their Facebook page, and if I see any like misogynistic posts or any Kevin Samuels or any red pill, mid gal, incel, I just automatically just block them or don't accept the friend request because I'm just exhausted of having to have this advice and not even realizing that this was a thing that was happening like before TikTok and before people were going live and before we got to share our stories. You know, this is another reason why a lot of us may have, you know, low self-esteem and stuff like that because being discriminated against other races and stuff, and then to constantly have to absorb, you know, feeling inferior and being told that there are other women more desirable than us and that we're the least desired, and you know, all the colorism and the hair texturism. Like, I'm just tired of being pursued by men that don't like me. That is just the weirdest thing ever. And I'll pass.
All right. And I also wanted to respond to Nia Worldwide in the comments where she said a lot of Black women don't care either because it means holding certain people accountable. Absolutely. You made a great point, Nia, as well. There are actually Black women that will get in the live and say some of the stuff that man just said, truthfully. And that'll blow your mind too, because the type of people that those women are trying to cater to or not hold them accountable will do it to them too. So you definitely made a great point, Nia, for sure, because I should have said that, but absolutely there are Black women that most definitely will do that as well. But you know, Black women that do things like that, like I really I just thought I don't even look at you like a Black woman anymore. You don't even get the perks, the grace, the love that I extend to Black women. I just look at you like you're not a part of the sisterhood. Like I just can't. I can't. Because that's just ridiculous, you know. But anyway, you guys, like I said, it's extremely draining. I guess, not. I guess I know to talk about this, and
And the pick meism, oh my God, I don't know what's worse.
mhm.
The pick meism is really dangerous. And they will like argue with you. It's like they're their pit bull. Like they're the ones that's going to help to assist to put you back in line. And they're always, covering up for them, calling young girls fast and not holding men accountable. Like, how are you going to call an 8-year-old fast? Like, come on, how desperate are you really for a man? Like, come on, you're doing a lot.
Yep. I mean, I definitely agree with you. I've seen that myself. In my personal life, women doing stuff like that. And I mean, I like I said, I don't trust women. I don't trust women that do that. I don't trust women that it's this lady on here. I think her name is Remnant Goddess. And I just experienced her like maybe a couple weeks ago. She came up on my live panel. That lady is truly deranged and insane. She literally says everything that men want her to say. She's an attack dog. She attacks other women. She's like a true psychopath. Like, honestly, I look at her like just like a cancer to the whole group of women. Like, she needs to be cut out and put over there with the men that she wants their attention so badly. Her, what's her name? Janine, just a girl. The real Jane, like Kana. There's a whole bunch of women that are picked. I think this lady name is Pick Misha. All of these women, I really they're dangerous, and I don't approve and appreciate anything that they have going on. I really don't. I really don't. And they are dangerous. But you guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I do appreciate you because my child came in here on some crazy stuff and I gotta tend to her. Sorry, y'all. But I appreciate you so much, Vernell, for coming in and speaking,
Thanks for
sis.
having me up. And don't forget to watch the YouTube video. I've been watching the YouTube videos.
Oh yeah, you guys. Y'all, I do have a YouTube channel, and just click the link in my bio, and I do upload a video, brand new video every day at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. And thanks to the ladies in the chat too, Brooklyn, Shanae, Cookie, Supervillain, of course, Nia. I think I said Cookie already. Bree. Let me see. Anybody else in there to give a shout out to that I see all the time? Miss Good News, of course. Unbreakable. Fana, and Mimi. I appreciate all of you guys, and I'll see y'all. And I might come back and talk about this, but it'll be in a couple days. I got to recharge after this because it's a lot. I might talk about something a little lighthearted and start roasting these dudes again, y'all. But once again, thanks so much for you, Vernell, for coming up, sis. I appreciate you, and I hope I can get a chance to talk to you again.